The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome to the Science of Magic, a place where science and magic come together to transform fact into evolving truth. We can be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour we'll be exploring sound gateways. I'm a drum builder. I don't say this lightly, nor do I intend to indicate I simply put together drums. I had a teacher from the Lakota tradition. He taught me the sacred geometry involved in the traditional construction of a Lakota hoop drum. He taught me the ancient ceremonies used to imbue every step of the process with intention, alignment, and gratitude for those beings that gave their lives that we may create this sacred shamanic tool. Once the drum was built, but not before it dried, he instructed me on how to infuse it with the birth chord of the practitioner for whom the medicine drum had been built. The drum then became a personalized, powerful shamanic tool. It was never to be played by any other than the person it had been made for, without ceremonial preparation for such an event. So, what exactly is a birth chord? I asked the very same question. It's the chord of frequencies that the person attempted to incarnate with, my teacher informed me. There are those of us that chose to come to provide support and guidance through these powerful times of change and evolution. The effectiveness of our work is directly related to our anchoring in the physical form. Our grounding to life on the planet is stepping down from spirit to the physical. My teacher explained to me that when we're in spirit getting ready to enter, we're drawn to a developing fetus that has the DNA most compatible to our purpose. Once we join with the forming physical body, the light from our spirit activates the DNA, resulting in incarnation. However, the planet has passed through a low-frequency time. Over the generations, much of our DNA, deprived of wider bandwidths of light, became inactive and thus no longer available to carry the complete range of the incoming spirit. Thus, when incarnating from pure spirit, only a small portion of our original harmonics can be translated onto the physical plane. Now, our sun has moved into a more highly charged area in the galaxy, and a much greater bandwidth of frequency is available. Unfortunately, we remain deactivated and unable to step down much of our potential frequency from spirit to the physical. This stepping down process is achieved through light entering the chakras through the auric field, which in turn is transmitted to the endocrine glands and from there to the physical body. The drums I was taught to build were designed to reactivate our original potential. By playing a drum tuned to a person's birth chord, the mechanical waves activate the dormant DNA, setting up a resonance and rendering it receptive to greater light. The more light present, the greater the reactivation. This reactivation is achieved by the drum's precise mechanical waves impacting the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. In addition to the drum, rattles, didgeridoos, Tibetan bells, singing bowls, and the human voice are all powerful activators. Every person, place, or thing puts off vibration in varying spectrums: sound, light, gamma rays, X-rays, and so on. These frequencies range from the perceptible to those well beyond our senses. The combined frequencies create electromagnetic areas surrounding us in the form of toroidal fields. Where the toroidal fields of one body, be it human or heavenly, cross, the X points are created. X points are like wormholes, shortcuts through time and space. These X points are the phenomenon shaman use to transcend time and space. They are also the mechanism through which spiritual power can be introduced into the physical plane. In short, magic. Sound is a mechanical wave, while light is an electromagnetic one. Mechanical waves must have a medium through which to propagate, while electromagnetic waves can travel through the vacuum of space. Sound is therefore more closely linked with physical and light with the esoteric. There is a continuum formed by sound to light that enables movement from physical to spiritual. The scale also moves from the esoteric back through the physical, creating pathways for spirit to enter the mundane. These passageways are gateways to enlightenment and evolution. Our guest this hour is an expert in music, rhythm, and shamanic healing and accessing the esoteric through sound. I will introduce CODY Alexander after this short break. You're listening to The Science of Magic. This and other innovative episodes can always be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is CODY Alexander, certified shamanic practitioner, musician, singer-songwriter, and avid student of the esoteric and its relationship to sound. CODY's fascination with the esoteric began 40 years ago. Her search eventually led her to Native American spirituality. Under the teachings of Lakota elder Grandfather David of the Standing Buffalo Clan, CODY served 4 years as a Sundance drummer and became an ordained minister of Native American spirituality in 2009. Her continued search led her to shamanism and Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a Colorado State certified occupational school. She graduated with honors as a certified shamanic practitioner in 2007 and a certified shamanic instructor in 2009. She has dedicated her life to the path of service, helping awaken and empower others using frequency and shamanism to heal and transform. CODY offers private long-distance shamanic healing sessions internationally through Path Home Shamanic Arts and is available on her website, www.findherpathhome.com. Click on private sessions. CODY has a CD of original songs, North Shield. She also is a member of the group Starfire and performs on their album, Winds of Time. These can be found on cdbaby.com, itunes.com, amazon.com, and through her website, www.codyalexander.net. CODY, thank you for joining us on The Science of Magic to share your considerable knowledge of and experience with sound and the esoteric.
Thank you so much.
CODY, as a shamanic practitioner, you have been reactivated by your own drum. Do you use this in healing with others?
Yes, I do. The activation that the drum provided for me gave me access to an expanded realm of frequencies, and when I track for my people according to their intent and bottom line and what they want to come back at this time for themselves, I can access the frequencies that are appropriate for them because of this expanded access. and step it down and then deliver it to them.
How do you deliver it?
I use my voice in order to tone the frequencies, get a visual on their chakric field, and I can see where the imbalances are, so that when I use my voice, I can literally see the chakric field even out. And it fills in the places that where there are gaps or where it seems to be a little dimmer than elsewhere.
Gotcha. So that's pretty much your own personal style, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Let's talk about drums a little bit. In both Native American spiritual and other spiritual traditions, and worldwide shamanic traditions for that matter, drums and or some form of percussion are involved. Can you speak to this?
Yes, what I've experienced is that the drum, like you said in your introduction, they open gateways for spiritual consciousness, for all the bodies, the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, to align. And what I have noticed when I'm doing drumming is that it seems like the boundaries dissolve, that I lose my sense of myself in the here and now and blend more seamlessly, and it feels like it's outside of time and space. So it really helps to access higher frequency information and just kind of go with the energy of what's appropriate at the time.
You know, I've been involved in some studies on shamanic practices and participants of ceremonies. And through the use of percussion, the subject's alpha brainwaves consistently drop to 7.5 hertz. This tends to result in a trance-like state. As a shamanic practitioner and Sundance drummer, can you share some of your experiences with that effect?
Yeah, actually I can. Most of the time, in fact, pretty much all the time, when I'm sitting on the drum, especially with my experiences in Sundance, is that I'm literally becoming one with the entire ceremony. I become one with the people who are also sitting on the drum, and I really lose a sense of self, so that my whole focus is to support the people that are in the ceremony itself, and that I'm following the person who is a lead on the drum, and we're moving literally like one being. So it's like when you see a flock of birds that are shifting and moving and circling and diving all at the same time in an instant. That's pretty much what happens on the drum, because it's absolutely essential for the focus to be so complete that we have to keep the rhythm absolutely dead on, and we have to work together absolutely dead on, because our support literally carries the dancers energetically through whatever process they are addressing, according to their prayers or their intention for being in the Sundance.
That's a beautiful team, it sounds like to me.
It is. It can be.
Yeah. You've been a piano tuner for over 35 years. What have you noted about sound, harmonics, and spiritual healing?
It's been interesting tuning for as long as I have. Here again, I get a visual of sound waves when they are dissonant and when they align. And so what I do when I'm tuning is I watch for the alignment in order for the piano to come into the tune that it was designed to be. And the same thing happens when I'm working with people, or even if I'm not working with people consciously, or I'm just in situations where I'm involved with a lot of people. I can literally feel the energies that are dissonant, and I can feel the energies that are supportive. And what I've noticed is that when a group is in alignment, it seems like the amplitude of whatever that intention is in the group seems to expand far greater than the number that is there. And when there's dissonance, the potential for destruction seems to be, or discomfort, or just chaos in general, seems to be very high.
So you're saying that sound isn't always healing?
Correct.
So what circumstances do you see where it's not?
Sound can be used to literally destroy. I know that. If we look at situations where, in a home environment where there is constant criticism, it is literally a frequency of a bombardment that is dismembering And I don't think that we consciously know what is going on. I don't think that people consciously do this for the most part, because I believe that people on the whole really want to be good, and they don't realize what's happening with the frequencies that they're delivering through their intent, through their voice. So say, for instance, when a child is constantly criticized, constantly gotten after for things that may or may not be their fault, just hyper-vigilant adults going after them, what ends up happening is that there is an eroding of the sense of self. And what that looks like to me energetically is like a bombardment of frequencies that dissolve the natural boundaries, the natural energetic boundaries of another human being, so that there are these holes that happen within the energetic membrane, and they become available to harmful or dissonant energies more and more, the more often this kind of bombardment continues. And I think this is the cause of a lot of soul loss, a lot of separation from our own gifts and talents as we get older.
So, can you speak to the misuse? Sounds like unconscious misuse of sound. Can you speak to the misuse or manipulating of others through sound, consciously?
Yeah, in groups that are not necessarily having the best interests of others at heart. So, for instance, if we look at a mob mentality where people are chanting destructive things, it literally begins to build a wave form that increases. The more alignment there is, the more people that there are, and the more the surroundings resonate with this assault. And so, just like in a group where people are aligned in good intent and boundaries dissolve and they begin to move together, just like the birds I was talking about, the same thing can happen with a mob mentality, where all it takes is a single incident, a single trigger after they build and build and build this form of energy to release it in a really negative way. And we've seen that happen over and over again with demonstrations, and the examples go on and on worldwide. It just isn't a good thing to happen, but we see it a lot.
So, are you saying this is the sort of thing that we're seeing terrorists, that they have their slogans and they get their people all fired up? I mean, it has to take something like that to strap a bomb around your middle and go kill yourself for a cause. Is this one of the places where you see it playing out?
Yes, I do. I think what ends up happening is that logic disengages and we get into the emotional body of the people that are involved, and whatever other damage is being triggered. And it begins to, they begin to resonate with the same kind of feeling, the same kind of intent, and it tends to carry people beyond what, in a normal situation, they would consider a logical or a good thing, or a good, some kind of an opportunity to do something to make a change. If they had the opportunity to step back and look at it, they might decide differently. But sometimes there's so much damage that they're pretty much ready to be triggered in those ways, as I see with the people who blow themselves up in order to hurt other people.
So this really kind of describes what goes on with crowd hysteria and lynchings and all those things, where as a group, the frequency being perpetrated on the group and amplified by the group, they do things that individuals would not do. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, and what it looks like is that as a group, they develop a sort of group momentum or a group courage, which is not courage at all. But just the development of an incentive in order to do things that would be absolutely horrific. And on their own, I'm convinced that many people within that group would not engage in these things at all.
Got it. This is just really engaging, and it's describing a lot of what we're seeing in our world in a whole different way. We're going to have to take a short break. We're going to return to CODY and her depth of knowledge on frequency, sound, and crowd mentality just after this short break. We'll return to our discussion. You're listening to The Science of Magic. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. You want to hear more? Other innovative episodes can always be also found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. Visit us at www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is CODY Alexander, an expert in music, rhythm, shamanic healing, and accessing the esoteric through sound. Her website, www.codyalexander.net. CODY and I were talking about how sound can positively and or negatively affect people. CODY, what I'd like to move into now is, the ancient shamanic songs. There's these ancient traditional songs that have been an oral tradition, and they have been used over and over and over again. And each of them seem to have a very specific use at a very specific time and are considered sacred and not to be used in general senses. Can you speak to this a little bit for us?
Sure. And coming from my perspective, what I perceive about that is that these songs have been sung over and over and over again for hundreds, sometimes thousands of years. And within the body of the song, there is knowledge that is embedded and emotions that are embedded and gateways that are implanted that are designed to align with a specific purpose, specific times of year, planetary alignments. And when these songs are used in ceremony, they have that huge backlog of energy that is added time and time and time again from the intention of the people or the person who is singing this song. And so whenever that song is sung, the person who is singing it is getting access to that huge support. It's like this enormous library, this wealth of information that is designed specifically for a very particular purpose. And so, in my view, that's why it's really critical to honor those songs for what they were designed to do, when they were designed to be used, and absolutely with permission, especially if you're working with indigenous songs or material. It's very important to know what you're doing, be properly trained in it, and do it appropriately.
That was beautifully stated. I know that one of the things that many of my teachers told me is the reason it's an oral tradition is because it's never the same. So if you record a song or write it down, you're freezing it in the time and the moment that it was performed. However, we're moving through all these cycles and all these seasons, and no two summers are the same, no two solstices are the same. And so does that leave the practitioner that's singing the song free to align with the time and space that they're in, as well as call on the history? And would you go into that a little?
I would say that's a matter of training and experience and knowledge. And so on one side, yes, it does leave the practitioner free to adjust accordingly. However, one of the reasons that the songs were delivered orally and not recorded, for the very reason you stated, is that recording it freezes it in time, is that when those songs were taught to whomever it was that was learning it. The person who is singing, they're using all of their bodies. They're using the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual in order to deliver this song. And so they're delivering more than just the song. They're delivering all of their information, everything that they know. They're delivering their emotion in the moment. They're delivering the song in alignment with the land and the area in which they're standing and the planetary alignment that's happening at the time. So it's kind of a mixed question there. Yes, on one side, and really need to honor the original teachings on the other.
Yeah, my kilter teacher used to say, "Well, it is and it isn't." And that was kind of one of those questions, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I've heard of you speak of being able to tell the level of a person's damage by what's carried or missing in the frequencies in their voice. Can you tell me a little bit more about that one?
Yes. What I've noticed sometimes, and I'll use something that I have listened to a lot long before I started really studying and learning what was going on behind this, but I have noticed that there are a lot of women who speak using only the top register of their voice. And unless I see who is speaking, I think it's a child. And so what I have discovered over years of working and perceiving damage in the history is that it seems to indicate that there might be something in the history that is preventing them from being fully here, from being fully grounded, from exploring those lower frequencies. Because if there's blocks in the body, it reflects in the voice.
So basically, you're using sound and the tone of a person's voice as a diagnostic tool?
I am, yes.
That doesn't sound very common to me. Is that something you can teach?
You know?
Well, short of 35 years of piano tuning and how many years of shamanic training?
That's a really good question. I've never tried to teach that. And I don't know that anybody else has ever tracked like that. I don't think I've ever come across anybody else who does. I'm sure there's somebody who listens to those kinds of things, and I'm sure you can teach it. And I think it also involves a whole heck of a lot of processing so that you can actually hear those places without being triggered into your own damage in order to, move through your own healing so that you can actually be useful when you start hearing these absences in the voice, the absence of frequencies.
Ooh, that's interesting. Let's go into that just a little bit. So you're telling me that if I haven't processed through an issue that's showing up in somebody's voice as absent frequencies, that will trigger me into my own issues? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Something like that.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, good. How do you use sound and harmonics in your healing practice?
What I do is work with the intention and the bottom line of the person that has come to me for help. So those are the boundaries that are set for me. And when I'm working with them, I'm literally moving into their energetic field. And so we're dealing with a particular issue or challenge. And as I am working with the person, I track energetically where those blocks seem to be. So it's like I'm following, that's a good example, like maybe, a train that gets derailed, all the cars go every which way. They're all gehinkled. And so what I'm doing is I'm following all that gehinkle, all that distortion, all the way back to try to find the original point of damage and then bringing that forward, shifting the frequency for the purpose of helping that client integrate the new information and reconnect with the places where they were disconnected from their own sacredness, from their own inherent right to be everything that they can be here. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that inherent right to be everything they can be here is actually a bandwidth of frequencies, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so how do you choose which ones to bring back, which bandwidth?
Well, that's absolutely determined by the intent and the bottom line of the person, because it's not me. It's not my agenda. When I go in to work with someone, I'm giving it up and asking for guidance and aligning with the person's intention and the situations in which they want this intention to be fulfilled to see what is in their best interest to bring back at this time. Because if you do too much too fast, it can be absolutely damaging and re-injuring and actually making things worse for the person. So it's important to go carefully.
So sounds like the entire healing process is based on what that person wants to change in their life at the time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So then that sets you into a position to pick out the frequencies that'll help them with that.
Exactly. And it's
Align
not
with
something
those.
that I'm
And
constantly
then
going,
you
well,
have
look at
to
this
you have to
frequency.
step them
I'm sorry.
down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's not something that I'm consciously saying, well, this looks like a nice frequency. Let's bring this one back. I get I get a visceral sense, and I'm not even analyzing what it is. The head kind of goes out the window when I'm doing this work. What I'm doing is tracking energetically through what I'm guided to do, in order to see where the disconnect has been, and embodying that frequency and bringing that back for the client so that they can integrate it here in the here and now.
Well, I am going to ask you a whole bunch more about that, but we're going to have to take a break. We'll be right back on the flip side of this short break. You're listening to The Science of Magic, the place where artistic professionals of science and the esoteric create common ground for the betterment of our world. The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is The Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. Visit us at www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is CODY Alexander, an expert in music, rhythm, shamanic healing, and accessing the esoteric through sound. Her website, www.codyalexander.net. Welcome back, CODY.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about your shamanic practice. I understand you can work in person or at a distance. And so does it work as well at a distance? And how does it work at a distance?
Yes, it absolutely does work as well at a distance. Because what ends up happening is that I'm working outside of space, outside of time and space, whether I'm in person with someone or whether they're across the country. So what's happening is I raise the frequency of my environment, set the intent to work with my particular person, and then when I actually do the journey work to access whatever it is that helps them align with those pieces of themselves that they have lost, then I'm working literally in their energetic space. So I'm accessing their library of experiences, their frequencies, in order to find out, where the disconnect has been and what needs to happen in order for the reconnection to take place.
So do the frequencies and harmonics of a person's voice change as they heal through this method, and how?
I have noticed that they do, and many times it's more obvious than others, but what I will notice is that after a session, And I've noticed this actually with other people who have gone to other certified practitioners in order to heal, is that I will have heard the frequencies and become very familiar with them during the course of a session with my own people. And then once the soul retrieval has happened, once we start discussing whatever questions they might have afterward or downloading the experience, that their voices will actually have filled out a little bit, some more dramatically than others. But I will notice that there are new frequencies present that were not there before, and it usually tends to be in the medium to the lower bandwidth of frequencies that I really hear it.
So people tend to get more grounded in their voice, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me, is that they are able to be more present here, more able to be more connected with the here and now, and it reflects in the sound of their voice.
You know, CODY, I've noticed there's a huge bandwidth of shamanic practitioners out there that call themselves shamanic practitioners. And because there's no real provision for the training, anybody can hang up a shingle. How would you speak to our listeners about finding somebody that they can really trust to do this work? Because it seems to be very intimate and very powerful.
Over 40 years of searching for people who say that they know what they're doing and finding so many who don't. I was really overjoyed to find Path Home, and I entered into the teachings or the classes with a lot of reservation, because too many times I will have gotten to a certain level of information, and then it would be a very narrow band of data, and then I would disengage because there was nothing further to be able to actually access. And in some cases, the environment in which some of these teachings were being delivered and the kind of information that wasn't going along with it, as in how to create sacred space, how to create safe space, how to be reliable every single time, could actually be harmful to themselves and to the people that they're working with. And so when I started with Path Home School, I went in with a lot of trepidation, and I really watched to see, is this information valid? Does it work? Is it being delivered in integrity? Is the ego set aside? And at every step, I was so impressed, not only with the effectiveness of the techniques that were given and the stepwise manner in which people who engaged in the school had to process in order to keep moving along with the teachings, was very profound, and I found it to be enormously effective as I underwent so many soul retrievals as part of the requirements of the curriculum. I could tell a huge difference in myself, things that changed for me that I never thought would ever change lifelong. I thought I would die with some of these patterns. So absolutely, it is essential to check out the requirements or the qualifications of whomever it is that you're going to be working with, and the fact that the school is state certified says a lot, because as far as I know, there is no other state certified school of the shamanic arts in the nation. I might be wrong, but I know that their requirements are very rigorous, because the school has been certified as an occupational trade school, and that takes a lot of paperwork and a lot of study and a lot of qualifications that other people have to verify in order to make that certification possible.
It's really nice to know that's out there. And I think there's increasing schools and teachers that carry that level of integrity. So basically you're saying make sure that who you're working with is well trained. Do you have 2 CDs out? Where can people find them, and what's the names of them?
Yes, my first CD is called North Shield, and that's available through my website or through cdbaby.com. And then the other CD that I have performed on is Winds of Time, and the musical group Starfire. And that one is available also through CD Baby and Amazon. And I think that's about it. I think you can actually find Winds of Time through the Path Home website as well.
All right. So why do you end up in shamanism, and why would a person seek out shamanic healing?
Oh, that's a big question. I was so
Well, we have about 3 minutes, so go at it.
Okay, short form. I was absolutely miserable with the patterns that I was carrying, and I knew there was something not right. And I wasn't going to give up looking until I found the answers, and it's literally taken me. It's been a lifelong search in order to do it. And when I finally came across the shamanic healing through Path Home, it started giving me answers that were so amazing and so life-changing that I haven't quit. I'll keep doing it because I keep finding
Stuck
more
to the
stuff.
darn thing, are you?
So,
In closing, CODY, what message do you have for our listeners at this time?
We live in a difficult world, and there are so many of us who are just trying to survive. Or if you've got a mission where you feel like you want to be in service to humankind and to the earth, my message to you is don't give up. Look around you. The earth is there for you. The sky is there for you. Our relations, the wingeds, the four-leggeds, the creepy crawlies, the little insect nations are all there for you with metaphors, with support, if you ask. And if you're into dealing with the angelic realms, ask. That's all they're waiting for. Ask for help, and then be open to the metaphor of support that they bring you, because they absolutely are there.
CODY, that is so beautifully stated, and I can't thank you enough for being on our show. You know, what you've said out there, we're all looking to find completion, to find the next step, to find the next direction, to find support, to find solace, to find something. And it's all within and without us. And if we can listen to everything around us and let go of what we think is impossible and embrace the improbable, magic can truly happen. Magic can happen. So, folks, hang in there. Thanks again, CODY, for being with us. These are exciting times to be alive. And in the final closing, this has been The Science of Magic. Remember, you can always listen to this and other thought-provoking episodes on our website, www.scienceofmagic.net. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge, comforted with love, and dance with ease through your personal gateways.
One people, one nation.